A great show lined up. We had a bunch of extra Hamilton Bulldogs here not that long ago, but I see that Mike Condon and Jordan Southorn have left, but it's good to see Gabriel Dumont hanging around. I don't think he's here for the show. I think he's just going to have some chicken wings or something. But coming up a little bit later on in the show, a couple of his teammates, Maxime Masonauer in our second segment, Jonas Nattinen in our third segment.
Yeah, good guest for sure. A lot of fun to watch these guys play, and we'll get up close and personal with them.
Sounds good. First up, though, we're going to look back at the week that was for the Hamilton Bulldogs. A light week based on the schedule the team has had of late, with only 2 games last weekend. The first one was last Friday at First Ontario Centre here in Hamilton. The Bulldogs playing host to their North Division rival, the Lake Erie Monsters. It was the 8th of 10 meetings between the two teams this season. Hamilton went into the game 4-2-0-1 versus Lake Erie in 2013-2014. And the Bulldogs have played some of their best hockey this season against the Monsters. As a matter of fact, the team's season high for goals in a game is 6. They've scored 6 twice this season. Both times the Bulldogs have scored 6 goals have been in games against the Monsters.
You know, it's funny because the Monsters, it just shows you how things can change in the American Hockey League from year to year. They used to cause us a lot of problems, but sort of reversing the tables this year, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah, and it was a big game for both teams because if you combined overtime and shootout losses, Hamilton and Lake Erie actually had an identical record going into the game of 23, 25, and 5. With 51 points, the Bulldogs and the Monsters were tied for 3rd in the North Division and 12th in the Western Conference. 7 points out of the 8th and final playoff position. Now, the Dogs went into the game without defenseman Darren Dietz. He's still down with an injury. And without goaltender Dustin Tokarski and defenseman Jared Tenori, both up with the Montreal Canadiens. So if they were going to win, they were going to win without 3 important players. And, you know, the Hamilton Bulldogs, despite only winning 1 out of 3 games a couple of weekends ago, I thought they got off to a great start in all 3 games. Probably deserved to win all 3 games. But like I said, despite those strong starts, they only won 1 of them. Now, last Friday night, I didn't think they got off to a very good start against the Lake Erie Monsters, so I really wasn't sure where the game was going to go from there.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they dug deep. I don't know. Maybe we can ask the players why that happens, why some nights they're just gangbusters out of the gate, and sometimes you don't even get anything done, and yet another night you start poorly, and then you can pull out a victory. That's what sports is all about, I guess.
Well, they weren't great out of the gate, but it's not how you start. It's how you finish. And here are the highlights. Puck centered out in front of the net. Here's a backhand shot, and they score! Michael Schumacher raced to the front of the Hamilton Bulldogs net, stuck out his stick, and redirected the puck past Robert Meyer. And the Lake Erie Monsters have taken a 1-0 lead. And a Masonauer, and Andrighetto shoots, and he scores! Sven Andrighetto from a sharp angle to Calvin Pickard's right, fired the puck to the net. It looked to me like it bounced off the Lake Erie Monsters goaltender and then in, and the Hamilton Bulldogs score a strange goal, and they tie this game at 1. Beaulieu trying to do it all himself here. There's it back of the line. Patterson shoots and scores! Nathan Beaulieu seemed to make the Lake Erie Monsters dizzy with his game of keep away, and then he finally passed the puck to one of his teammates, Greg Patterin, who let one fly from the blue line and blasted a shot right by Calvin Pickard into the back of the Lake Erie Monsters net, and the Hamilton Bulldogs have taken a 2-1 lead. Elliott steps in and shoots and scores! You could see that coming. The Hamilton Bulldogs couldn't get the puck out of their zone, and the Lake Erie Monsters make them pay the price. Stephen Elliott with a perfectly placed wrist shot right into the top corner of the Hamilton Bulldogs net, and the Lake Erie Monsters tie the game at 2. The 4th Hamilton Bulldogs shooter, Patrick Holland. 0 for 2 in shootouts this season, but he's got some good moves. Holland will pick it up at center, weave his way in down the middle. Holland to the forehand, shoots and scores! Patrick Holland just slips the puck past Calvin Pickard, who got a piece of it, but not enough of it, and the Hamilton Bulldogs take a 2-1 lead in the shootout. The 5th, and if he doesn't score, the final shooter for the Lake Erie Monsters. Andrew Agazino, 0 for 1 in shootouts this season. He must score to keep this game going. Agazino in up the right wing. Agazino in quickly, shoots, and he's stopped by Meyer. Game over. And the Hamilton Bulldogs start a winning streak as they come from behind to beat the Lake Erie Monsters by a final score of 3-2. A great come-from-behind win for the Hamilton Bulldogs, and I must add that Patrick Holland was one of 2 Hamilton Bulldogs players to score in the shootout. Gabriel Dumont scored the other goal, and it was a beauty. But a shootout win for the Hamilton Bulldogs, and you think about that game, and it was a proverbial 4-pointer, and there were 3 points handed out, 2 to the Hamilton Bulldogs, 1 to the Lake Erie Monsters. But Sylvain Lefebvre told us before the game, he's not worried about everybody else. He's only worried about his team. And the Dogs picked up 2 points, and they needed those 2 points.
Yeah, that's the way to look at it, Derek. And also the fact that the shootouts have not been all that kind to the Hamilton Bulldogs this season. So that here we are at crunch time, and they do the job.
And a weak start, but a strong finish for the Hamilton Bulldogs in that game against the Lake Erie Monsters last Friday. And with the win, they start a winning streak. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is the Milwaukee Admirals also won last Friday. So while the Hamilton Bulldogs didn't gain any ground, at least they didn't lose any, like the Lake Erie Monsters did. They fell 9 points out of the 8th and final playoff position in the Western Conference. So after that game, next up for the Hamilton Bulldogs, another game against a North Division rival. And Hamilton's Bulldogs met Toronto's Marlies in the American Hockey League's Battle of Ontario at Ricoh Coliseum on Saturday, the 11th of 12 regular season meetings between the two teams. And after going 5-5-1-1 against their arch rival last season, the Bulldogs 5-5-0-0 versus the Marlies this season. A lot of close contests, and halfway through the season series, these two teams were battling back and forth, and now they're almost all the way through the season series. If the Toronto Marlies win the 12th game, which is coming up in a couple of weekends, well, then the season series will be split with the Hamilton Bulldogs. But right now, the Dogs take a bit of a lead after what happened at Ricoh Coliseum last Saturday.
Yeah, and you're going to get a good game against the Marlies, but they're going to be tough also as division leaders this year. And unfortunately, you play them so often, or maybe I should say fortunately in this case, because they're really coming into play as far as the Bulldogs' fortunes are concerned, and good for them.
Absolutely. And Hamilton has actually been better on the road than at home so far this season, and especially good playing in games in Toronto. The Bulldogs, going into Saturday's game, had beaten the Marlies in 3 consecutive contests, 1 at Air Canada Centre, 2 at Ricoh Coliseum. Now, both teams were playing well. Both teams were trying to extend winning streaks on Saturday. Hamilton had won 2 straight games, Toronto 4 in a row. So something had to give, and here are the highlights. London centering it in front. Dumont shoots, and he scores! Mike Blunden with a perfect centering pass to Gabriel Dumont. 1 times the shot right between the legs of Drew McIntyre. And the Hamilton Bulldogs bite first and grab a 1-0 lead. Brandberg across the line. Percy winds and fires and scores. Nice puck movement by the Toronto Marlies, who set up Stuart Percy in from the left point. He lets one fly. A perfectly placed shot over the right shoulder of Robert Meyer. Right off the iron with a goal post and the crossbar connect. And the Toronto Marlies tie the game at 1. London behind the Toronto net, stick handling. He'll bounce it off the boards, right point. Patterin digs it out of his skates and now shoots. Loose puck, and they score! Greg Patterin took the shot from the blue line. The puck trickled towards the net, and Mike Blunden appeared to get his stick on it and redirect it under Drew McIntyre and in. And the Hamilton Bulldogs regain the lead. It is 2-1. Thomas ahead to Andrighetto. Nice pass to Mason Hour. He steps in and shoots, and that shot goes wide of the Marlies net. Now it's centered. Andrighetto scores! What a pass by Maxime Masonhour to the front of the Toronto Marlies net, and Sven Andrighetto swooped in, picked up the puck, and popped it right into the back of the net. And the Hamilton Bulldogs give themselves some breathing room and take a 3-1 lead. Percy Right point to Granberg, who shoots, bouncing puck off the goal post. The goal light goes on, and it goes in. You could hear the ping of the puck off the goal post, and it dropped to the ice, and maybe even bounced off of Robert Meyer before going across the goal line. So the Toronto Marlies get a good bounce and make it a one-goal game again. It's 3-2. Courtnall will muscle it in deep. Alden races after it, catches up to it far quarter, centers. Courtnall walks it and shoots, and he scores! Justin Courtnall snaps a shot by Drew McIntyre on the blocker side. And with 2.4 seconds left in the second period, the Hamilton Bulldogs get their 2-goal lead back. It's 4-2. And now a possible 2-1-1. Blunden shoots off the goal post. Loose puck, and they score! Mike Blunden took the shot. It snuck through the legs of Drew McIntyre, bounced off the near goal post. Either the goaltender kicked it into his own net, or Louis LeBlanc shoved it into the Toronto Marlies net. Either way, the Hamilton Bulldogs have a 5-2 lead. Game because it is now over. And the Hamilton Bulldogs, with arguably their most impressive victory so far this season. It was a game they really had to have, and they found a way to win it. They beat their arch enemy, the Toronto Marlies, by a final score of 5-2 in round 11 of 12 in the American Hockey League's 2013-2014 Battle of Ontario. Yeah, not only was that maybe Hamilton's most impressive victory so far this season, it may have been also the Bulldogs' most important triumph of 2013-2014. With the pair of points they picked up, they actually moved to within 5 points of the 8th place Milwaukee Admirals in the fight for the final playoff spot in the Western Conference.
No, you're right, and because Milwaukee's going to be a tough nut to crack, and we're going to have to win as many games as possible. There's going to be some road blocks or bumps along the way, and same for Milwaukee, hopefully, but the Dogs have to keep winning. That's the only way they're going to get back into it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, while the Hamilton Bulldogs enjoyed a day off yesterday, the Milwaukee Admirals played, and they won, and are once again 7 points ahead of the Dogs, but no team in the league has played fewer games than Hamilton has. The Bulldogs, who are tied with the Charlotte Checkers for 11th place in the Western Conference, are 7 points behind the 8th place Milwaukee Admirals, but they've got a game in hand. They're 4 points behind the 9th place Oklahoma City Barons with 2 games in hand, and 1 point behind the 10th place San Antonio Rampage with 1 game in hand. So if the Hamilton Bulldogs can win those games in hand, they're going to be in even better shape.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you can't really look ahead too much, because that's just exactly what Sylvain Lefebvre was talking about. Just here's the game. Let's deal with it, and we'll see where the dust settles.
Right. And the Hamilton Bulldogs have 3 games in 3 days coming up this weekend. All of them are at First Ontario Centre. We'll preview Friday's game against the Oklahoma City Barons, another proverbial 4-pointer, Saturday's contest versus the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, and Sunday's showdown with the Lake Erie Monsters a little bit later on in the show. But coming up next, we'll be joined by Hamilton Bulldogs forward Maxime Masonhour. Do you have a question for Maxime? Well, you can tweet it to @BulldogsAHL with the hashtag HBHH, and we'll ask him on the air for you. That's coming up when we come back to Anchor Bar to continue the Hamilton Bulldogs Hockey Hour on AM 900 CHML and 900CHML.com. Welcome back to Frank and Teresa's Anchor Bar, located inside of Jackson Square, right next to First Ontario Centre in downtown Hamilton. We're here for another installment of the Hamilton Bulldogs Hockey Hour. Derek Wills alongside of Al Craig, and pleased to be joined by Hamilton Bulldogs forward Maxime Masonhour. Do you have a question for him? Well, if you're in the crowd here at Frank and Teresa's Anchor Bar, we invite you to talk to Justin Dickey, who's sitting behind the host stand over here, and he'll organize some questions right up here on the microphone. Now, if you're tuned in at home on AM 900 CHML or 900CHML.com, you can send us your questions via Twitter @BulldogsAHL with the hashtag HBHH. First off, though, I'd like to welcome Maxime Masonhour to the show. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fine. You?
I'm doing well. What did you have for dinner?
Pizza.
Was it good?
Really good.
Good. Good to hear. So you are a 25-year-old native of Laval, Quebec. Of course, Laval's not far from Montreal. Did you grow up a Canadiens fan?
Yeah. Always since I'm 3 years old, I've been a Canadian fan. And even when I was playing in the other teams in my pro career, I was always a Canadian fan deep inside, that's for sure.
Who was your favorite player growing up?
That's Peter Forsberg, not even Canadian hockey, but I don't know, for some reason I love the guy. Great hockey
Heck
player.
of a player, yeah.
He's a legend.
Not in the style of Maxime Masonauer, though. I mean, well, you kind of. Forsberg's a smooth guy. You're a digger. You're what we call a whirling dervish. You're all over the place. You just never stop. You're like that bunny, that Energizer bunny. Where did that come from?
Well, he just said you weren't smooth, by the way. I just wanted to point that out.
No, I never said that.
You did.
I didn't say. I said Peter.
You said I'm not smooth.
No,
You did.
This guy always tries to get me in trouble. You're a different style than Peter Forsberg.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, for sure, if I look at my season right now, the offensive asset is not where I want to be. The production, I say, it's not exactly where I want it to be. But for the most part, it's I started from tryout at the training camp, and then I just make my way up to like a normal contract, EHL contract, which was really good, I think. And from there, and hopefully I can still help the team.
Now you say the offense isn't where you'd like it to be. That's because of the slow start, like point-wise, because you've been doing really well lately.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's only the point-wise, I'd say. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you played 4 seasons in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, 1 with the Rimouski Oceanic, about 2.5 with the Rouen-Noranda Huskies, and then about a half season with the Shawinigan Cataracts. Made a couple of pretty good playoff runs, right?
Yeah, especially the last 2 years. I mean, with the win around the Huskies, we made it all the way to the final. We lost in 5, I think, if I can remember well. That was a tough one for sure. But then the next year we did the same. I did the same thing. We made it all the way to the final, and with Shawinigan, and I lost in 7 against that big doomy guy in the corner there. That was a really tough one, I'd say, especially the second year in a row where I made it to the final. I lost again. It was really tough.
Now, you play with Gabriel Dumont now, but you've played against him both in junior and in pro. How tough is he to play against?
Easy to play against.
He might come up here on the
It
stage
was
and
more
start
the
a fight with you.
It was more the rest of now. He was a really good player. They had a great team. We had a great team, and they end up being better, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you were selected in the 3rd round, 63rd overall in the 2007 NHL entry draft by the Anaheim Ducks. What was it like being drafted into the National Hockey League? Because I'm sure you grew up wanting to be a professional hockey player.
Yeah, for sure. That was unreal. But it was unreal. But I wasn't even at my draft. I wasn't even there because at 17 I got injured my shoulder, got a surgery, so I played 5 game that year, and I didn't even show up at my draft because I didn't think I was gonna get drafted. So Anaheim called me. I was coming back from a rehab. I was in Moncton back then, and I was coming back from rehab, and they called me and told me we just draft you. You're not there. I said, no, I didn't expect to get drafted. So it was a big surprise for me.
Don Cherry always says, don't go to the draft unless you know you're going to be one of the first 5 picks, because you're going to sit there all afternoon. 3rd round's not bad, my friend.
Yeah, I know it's not bad, but like I said, I really didn't expect to get drafted, so that's why I didn't show up.
Are you disappointed it wasn't Montreal?
No, I mean, at that point, you can get drafted by any team and you'll be happy. Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
I mean, for sure, Montreal would have been crazy, but still.
You made it at the end of the day to the Canadiens organization. So
yeah,
here you are.
Finally.
Now, you turned professional in 2009-2010 with the ECHL's Bakersfield Condors. Prior to the show tonight, they had some of these strange highlights on TV, on TSN, and one of them was from Bakersfield. The Condors had an actual condor at the game.
Yeah.
Did you see that? It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I saw that highlight before. It was funny. Yeah.
Giant condor was on the ice and it started attacking people. Then it was on the bench and it started attacking the players. Anyways, I digress. But you then moved up the next season to the AHL.
Yeah.
In 2010, 2011. You had 13 goals, 19 assists, 32 points in 79 games with the Syracuse Crunch. So you go from junior 1 year to the ECHL the next year, to the AHL the next year, and then to the NHL the year after that, 2011-2012. Played in 29 games for the Anaheim Ducks. Talk about your development and how you went from league to league to league so quickly.
That's a good question. I mean, that year, my first year pro, we were supposed to have a team in the AHL with the Ducks, affiliate team, which it was the Iowa Chops back then. but they had an issue with the team and somehow, and we end up no team in the AHL with the Ducks that year. So I end up playing with the Bakersfield. I mean, you don't really want to end up there for your first year pro if you have a chance to play in the A for sure. But I end up there, and even there I got injured for a while, for 3 months with a knee injury. So it was a tough year, I'd say. And at Christmas time, I almost went back to the junior because I thought it would probably be better for my development. But I ended up injured just before I took the decision. So I just stayed in Bakersfield that year. And then the next year, we had the Syracuse Crunch team. So it was a good training camp that year too with the Ducks. I was among like the last player to get cut, and I ended up at Syracuse all year.
Just before you go on, because you're going to go to the National Hockey League in a minute, but I wondered, your style of play in that bandbox of an arena in Syracuse, what was that like? Because you like to move around. Did you find it difficult to play in such a small ice surface?
No, not really, because even in junior with Wenarenda, we had a small ice, so I was used to small ice. It's not a big deal. It's different a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it's not a big deal when you're used to it.
Do you have a preference? Do you like it big?
I like a big ice for sure.
Do you like international ice?
Oh, I would love international. Yeah. I mean, when you're a skater, like you like it when it's big and you can skate. Yeah.
So you end up in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, I play. Yeah.
You make your NHL debut October 7th, 2011, not far from here, just down the highway in Buffalo, and you picked up your first.
No, actually, I didn't make my debut in Buffalo. I made my debut in Finland. So that was my first 2 games. Yeah,
against Buffalo in Finland.
In Finland, and then second game against New York in Stockholm, in Sweden. Yeah.
So you picked up your first NHL point in your first game. That must have been pretty special. Tell us what was going through your mind prior to the game, during the game, and then after the game.
Prior to the game is just you're trying to stay calm and relax because it's a dream that comes true. But during the game, I was, even if I try to stay calm and relax, I was a little bit nervous in the game. I remember my first shift, I got the puck in the corner, and I had a lot of time to do a play or try to make a play, and I just dumped the puck. Went back to the bench, and the coach just gave me a little bit of a, you just give it to me because I didn't try to play, and I just get rid of the puck. And from that shift, then I try to, just do my thing out there. But my first point was off the face-off. I just won my face-off, and the D-man just put the puck in the net. It was a lucky point.
Well, you won the face-off, so you did your job. Now,
I guess so.
I know when guys score their first goal, they keep the puck. What about when you get your first point? Did you keep the puck?
No, I didn't keep the puck, no.
Well, luckily, 1 week later, October 14th, 2011, you score your first career NHL goal against the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah.
What was that moment like?
Again, it was unbelievable. That was just crazy. You score that goal. I mean, you've been playing hockey and you've been dreaming of playing the NHL and scoring some goals in the NHL for like 20 years. So when I actually scored that goal, I was pretty happy for sure.
Now, do you have a puck?
Yeah, I kept the puck. That's for sure.
Where's the puck?
It's at home. My dad just kept a bunch of stuff of mine at home, and someday maybe he's gonna do something about it.
What's a rivalry like Anaheim and San Jose?
It's crazy. I would say that the rivalry with LA is even crazier because it's half hour away. Like Anaheim and San Jose in LA, sorry, is half hour away. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, all the Californian team the rivalry is pretty big.
We've heard a lot of the athletes say they like playing there as opposed to, let's say, Toronto or Montreal because it's so nuts in the Toronto-Montreal markets, and you can sort of just wander around and nobody knows who you are even. Did you appreciate the lack of notoriety? Go to a restaurant or whatever you want to do?
Yeah, I would say I don't mind when people recognize me, but I like to be a low profile kind of guy, so I actually appreciate that. I know in Montreal it's not really the case, or in Toronto when you walk somewhere or you go somewhere you get noticed pretty easily, right? Yeah. But in Anaheim, like you said, it's I mean, people love hockey, but it's not as much as here. Like in Canada, it's just a religion. If you compare it with California, it's way different.
Before we ask you more questions, first we've got a question from Twitter. Somebody tweeted at BulldogsAHL with the hashtag HBHH, and now Justin Dickey is going to ask that question. Is going to ask that question on the air for us. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, Joe from Dundas asks, Maxime, you've had the chance to play with a lot of guys on your line this year. do you feel certain chemistry? Do you feel chemistry with certain teammates, or you just go out there and skate with whoever's number coach calls?
I go out there and I skate with with the with whoever the coach put guys with my lines. I'd say. I mean, for sure, there's always some guys that I would say that you get a better chemistry, but you need. I mean, whoever you play, you need to get a chemistry anyway. So, not a big difference to me.
Well, it's good to hear from Joe from Dundas again, because I believe he had actually gone over to Europe and he was touring a bunch of different mud baths recently. So glad to hear he made it back safe and sound here to Hamilton. Thanks for the question. I believe we have a question from a member of our audience here at Frank and Teresa's Anchor Bar as well. So step up to the mic. Don't tap the microphone. Tell us your name, where you're from, and let me move it down for you a little bit there. Go ahead and ask Maxime your question.
Good evening. My name is Arnab. I'm a Hamilton Bulldog. So my question to Maxime will be, who was your first ever hockey coach who helped you develop as a player, and what learnings do you still take from him and put it to daily practice?
What's the last one?
Your first coach, and what to this day, what that coach taught you, do you
that sticks with you?
Actually stick with you in your career?
That's a tough one. I mean, I've had so many coaches through the years. It's a really tough one. I would say that when you're young, any coach you have, the first thing they would taught you would be to never give up. Just have fun out there, and give everything you've got, and even if it's hard, just get up and keep going.
That describes you, my friend.
Yeah. Thanks, Arnab. So, last season,
yeah,
and for a little bit the season before, you played in St. John's, Newfoundland. And you obviously played in front of some fantastic hockey fans at Mile One Center. But playing for the Ice Caps has its challenges, doesn't it?
What do you mean by that?
Well, a lot of travel,
not
a lot of practice time.
Yeah, that's
for
sure.
You're kind of in the middle of nowhere, even though St. John's is a great city.
Yeah.
You're far from everything.
Yeah, you're right. The traveling part was, I would say it was kind of an issue sometimes. For, like you said, the practice part, we don't practice as much as any other team in the A, which is a big difference. I mean, by the end of season, when you're practicing 10 or 15 less practice than any other team, that would make a little difference, that's for sure. But and even like the big road trip, it's always you're going on a road trip for the minimal would be like at least 11 days, and it would go from 11 days to like sometimes even 3 weeks. So it was tough. But like you said, when you're at home though, you're playing in front of a full crowd every time, which is pretty sick, and I really appreciate that for sure.
Now, right across from Mile One Center, there was a food truck last time we were there.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the name of that food truck was? And did you ever eat at that food truck?
I don't know the name of the food truck, but I might have eaten there once or twice.
Was it Long Dick Sausage Emporium?
I can't really tell you.
That's what it was, because I took a
Really?
picture of it. Yeah, I thought it was a unique name.
Really?
And yeah, St. John's is
I
definitely
I never noticed, to be honest with you.
Maybe that's why you ate there.
Maybe.
If you had noticed the name, you might not have.
Well, you're talking about George Street, or
No, right across from the rink, there was a food truck parked there last time we were in St. John's.
Okay.
And I thought it was a really unique name for this food truck,
Oh,
so I
okay.
took a picture of it.
Okay, well, maybe we're not talking about the same truck.
Probably not. It's a truck, so maybe it drives around and stops at different places.
Who knows?
Anyways, kind of off topic again here. Back to your time with the Hamilton Bulldogs. You start training camp on a tryout.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of guys battling for spots. You had some competition. You earn a spot on the roster. So you're now on a professional tryout to start the regular season. You play really well. You get an American Hockey League contract. And then you go from being a fourth-line guy to a first-line guy.
Yeah.
Talk about your progression this season, because you've really made some big strides.
Yeah, for sure. But for me, it was always about, like I just told this guy with the question, it was always about like giving everything I've got. And for some reason, I had a tough time finding a contract last summer, so I ended up like with a tryout. But when you have a chance to play with the organization that you always loved, then that's a big deal for. So I came here with the mindset of I can do it for sure. I know I can do it. I play in the NHL. I mean, I've got a a lot of experience, a few years of experience in the with the AHL and a couple of games in the NHL. So to me, it was for sure I was about to make that team. In my mind, you can tell that, but in my mind, it was for sure. And then, from there, I started in the fourth line, even third line sometimes, but I can't remember. And then, somehow I end up. There's no really first or second line with our team. I feel like, to be honest with you, I'm in first
pretty
line.
balanced. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty balanced. That's why I'm telling you that. But no, I feel. I don't feel like there's first or second line. So to me, all the guys have something to bring on the table.
3 wins in a row for you and the guys. Do you feel like you're hitting your stride at the right time here?
Oh yeah, it's the best time ever to go on a winning streak. That's for sure. We need those points. Every points we can get, we need it. Especially right now, it's a big run we need to make just before playoff if we want to make it.
Do you and your teammates believe that you can get in?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We need. I mean, if we don't believe, then we're screwed right away. We need to have all guys on board and ready to and believe and ready to make it.
And do you believe that if you do get in, that you could do some damage?
For sure. Once you're in, you never know what can happen. I mean, if you think about Big Hampton a few years back, they finished I think 8th, and they end up winning the cup. So you never know. You never know. I mean, from there, you need a bunch of warrior, and you never know.
Our fans know that very well here in Hamilton, because back in 2007, the Bulldogs finished 3rd in their division and won the Calder Cup.
See, that's exactly what happened.
Got hot at the right time, just like you guys are. You got 3 big games coming up this weekend, and I know you're going to get prepared and ready to go for those ones. And wish you the best, your teammates the best, and who knows, maybe you can make it 3 wins, playing 3 games in 3 days.
I'm all for it.
All right, Maxime Masonauer, kind enough to join us here at Frank and Teresa's Anchor Bar, located inside of Jackson Square, right next to First Ontario Centre in downtown Hamilton. When we come back, we'll be joined by one of his teammates, forward Jonas Nattinen. If you have a question for Jonas, you can tweet it to @BulldogsAHL with the hashtag HBHH, and we'll ask it on the air for you. Of course, our fans here invited to ask a question as well. If you do come up to the mic, if you're brave enough to come up to the mic like Arnaud did a little bit earlier on, we're going to give you a puck. You can get it signed by Maxime, Jonas, and maybe even Gabriel if he sticks around a little bit longer. So that's what's coming up when we come back to Anchor Bar to continue this episode of the Hamilton Bulldogs Hockey Hour on AM 900 CHML and the all-new 900CHML.com. And welcome back to Frank and Teresa's Anchor Bar, located inside of Jackson Square, right next to First Ontario Centre here in downtown Hamilton. Another episode of the Hamilton Bulldogs Hockey Hour. I'm Derek Wills alongside Al Craig. Sandwiched between us, Hamilton Bulldogs forward, Jonas Nattinen. Welcome to the show, Jonas.
Thank you. Great to be here.
What did you have for dinner?
Pizza. That's all.
You guys split it, I guess, did you?
No, I had
No?
my own.
You had your own?
Now, what kind of pizza? They have lots of pizzas here.
I don't even know. We just we had Sebastian Borloo there, gave us a tip for a good pizza, and went for that.
Is pizza as big in Finland as it is in Canada?
I guess.
Do you put different toppings on your pizza in Finland?
Well, I guess it's more greasier in Finland. I don't know. But I like it better like that.
Greasier.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, listen. Pancakes.
What about them? I like pancakes. You like pancakes?
You did some pancakes the other day, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know where he was going with that one, Jonas.
I thought you knew the
Are
story.
pancakes big in Finland? What do you put on pancakes in Finland? Maple syrup? Or like
I'm just making Finland look
Loganberries.
so bad right now, but I rarely have pancakes there. But
Really?
Well, I guess we have pancakes, but I don't eat them too much.
Oh.
It was a
You're a healthy
dog's
guy.
breakfast the other day.
Greasy
and,
pizza, no pancakes.
And you were flipping them, right?
Balance each other.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be serious now for a second. You're a 23-year-old native of Jämsä, Finland.
Jämsä.
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 Jämsä?
Jämsä.
Jämsä. Thanks, Al. Thanks, Jonas. Selected by the Montreal Canadiens in the 3rd round, 65th overall in the 2009 NHL entry draft. And you're a guy who's played a lot of international hockey. Tell us about the under-18s and under-20s that you participated in.
They were a great experience. Only thing that bothers me is I didn't really appreciate them as much at the time that they were going. I definitely missed those times. Playing junior national team tournaments all over the world. It's just a great privilege to be part of, and especially I played 2 World Juniors in Canada and 1 in US, and they were just amazing experience that still always tell stories for the guys, even though they don't care about Team Finland. But I'm still keep pushing through.
When you say that you didn't appreciate them at the time, what do you mean by that?
Well, I don't know. I guess we just goof around a lot with the guys and just take it for granted. And but obviously the World Juniors and those was like obviously we took them seriously. I don't mean anything like that, but I just feel like afterwards you appreciate them way more.
You know what I like about the Finnish team, and it's always been this way, be it the juniors or be it the senior level. Of all the European teams, I always felt that Finland was closest to Hamilton or Canada as far as their playing style. Do you find that? I mean, you're kind of a rugged individual at times, and you don't see that on every European team.
Yeah, I heard that a lot. That Finland, the Finnish hockey style reminds a lot of North American hockey. I don't know. There's still a lot of skill in Team Finland and in the Finnish league. But yeah, I guess we play a bit tougher than the Swedes.
Especially the Swedes.
I don't like that.
Wow. Well, hey, you guys have medaled a lot in international hockey.
Yeah.
Now, growing up, I was a big Edmonton Oilers fan. My favorite player was Wayne Gretzky, but my second favorite player was Jari Kurri. Who was your favorite player growing up?
Selanne, 100%. And still is.
And he's still going and going strong.
Yeah.
Are you shocked by how good he still is?
Yeah, it is. It is pretty unbelievable. He's close into 45 and still sometimes look like the young guy there, skating fast and just it is mind-blowing.
Yeah, they said it was going to be his last Olympics. I'm not so sure. You never know.
You never know.
Gordie Howe played until he was 50, right?
53, I
50,
believe.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Well, Selanne will be, 47, I believe, next Olympics. We'll have to wait and see what happens if the NHL players actually go back. So, Teemu Selanne was your favorite player growing up. Did you try to model your game after his game, or are you just Jonas Nattinen?
I don't think I tried. I think he's just an individual that's hard to copy, but I just try to play my own game, and obviously look more guidelines from centermen I used to watch, like in the Finnish league. It's names you have no idea if I would drop the names, but I used to love a lot of skilled forwards. Used to try to copy them a lot.
So describe yourself as a player as you see it then.
Well, I think I transformed a lot in a couple of years. I came here as an offensive player, but I kind of developed a defensive style more here. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it happened.
You do have those nifty moves and everything like that, but you also like to go in the corner.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I love every part of a hockey. I feel like sometimes I just play as a grinder as I can. And some games I just flip the switch and be a completely different player.
Well, it's nice to be able to have the talent to do that. Now, in your first season, 11 goals, 10 assists, 21 points in 63 games. Last season, your second season, you were off to a good start. 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points in 24 games, and then a freak injury. Tell us what happened and how difficult it was for you to miss the rest of the season after that.
Yeah, right after Christmas, I tore my pec. Got the news that my season was done. I was 6 months recovery from that. That was a tough news to take. Especially, I felt like I had a good start of the year. I was really looking forward to it, and yeah, it was tough on the mind for just sit down for 4 months. I wasn't allowed to do anything. But I got through it. Had a good summer. Did some rehab on the shoulder and came back. Obviously, it took a hit. My game took a hit from it, but I'm feeling good right now.
And you're still progressing. And earlier this season, you were recalled for the first time in your career over here in North America. You're recalled by the Montreal Canadiens on January 17th. What was it like to, after 3 seasons in North America and all of these years growing up playing hockey, wanting to get to the top league in the world, to finally have a chance to make your debut?
Yeah, that was unbelievable. Felt so good to get some recognition for your hard work during the years and finally make the step to see what it's like there, and I definitely want some more.
you only got one game in. But when you got called up, I thought to myself, this is great because it tells Jonas Nattinen that the Montreal Canadiens are still watching him. Is that what it told you?
Yeah, that's what they actually told me after the game, that take it as a good thing, take it as a thing that I'm in their plans right now, and keep working hard.
What do they want you to do to get to that next level permanently?
I feel like they just want me to play consistently night after night and bring some hits and play hard. That's what they really want.
And you're playing hard. That's your style, obviously. Are you glad that you made the move from the type of player you said you were coming here to what you're transforming into? Do you feel good about that?
I do and I don't.
I love your honesty, by the way. I mean,
yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like, am I going the right way? But I don't know. I guess we'll see in a couple of years.
You know what? You're obviously buying into what the coaches are trying to get you to do individually, and as a team, it looks like the guys are buying in to things right now. You've won 3 games in a row. Earlier, we heard from Maxime Masonauer. He thinks you guys are getting hot at the right time. Do you feel that way as well?
I do. This is definitely the time we need to get hot. There's no other choice if we want to make the playoffs. We made some calculation there. And yeah, we really need to stay hot right now, and we definitely have a lot of experience in the coaching staff. They know how to turn this thing around.
You said you made some calculations. What do you think you need to do to get in?
I don't.
Gotta wrap up, guys.
I feel like I don't want to bring my math up here.
Just keep winning, right? I mean, that's the simple equation,
the best
right?
formula. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Jonas, it's a lot of fun to watch you play, and I was thrilled for you when you got to finally suit up for the Habs. Continued success to you and to your team.
Thank you.
There is Hamilton Bulldogs forward Jonas Nattinen joining us here at Frank and Teresa's Anchor Bar.